it made it about me. It made it about a pain point I had. And it made it like, without saying we're better than this company because of this, or better than this chocolate because of this, it says it like differentiated itself by like saying what it does and what the alternative is.
What's up, Modern Commerce? Coming back at you today with a fun episode. We're going to be looking at 40 memorable advertising slogans from history and deciding which one we think would be the best in today's e-commerce ecosystem, if you will.
Yeah, e-commerce ecosystem, man. That was a good one. That was like a tongue twister. I don't think I would have gotten through that.
Thanks, man. I stayed up all night coming up with that.
Practicing in the mirror. Yeah, no, so it's kind of a fun one today because, you know, we don't really use in e-commerce and direct to consumer, and at least with the brands we work with. Yeah, like slogans still exist. Like I think McDonald's still says I'm loving it or whatever, but like we don't use slogans in the classic sense anymore. In the direct to consumer space, or even in the e-commerce space, if it's not direct to consumer, they really are like, they're headlines, they're subject lines, they're this kind of thing. So we're gonna look at like, this is the words that went on the ad. This is like the thing that was supposed to catch people's attention and like make them desire the product or the company. So yeah, we're gonna look at them and we're gonna go tournament style. We have a list of 40. It's an article. We can share the article with y'all and put it in the comments and stuff like that. And we're just gonna go one versus two, who wins? 2 versus 3, who wins? And we'll kind of give you why. But it's just a fun way to like, listen and rethink the way that you are, like putting your messaging out there in your headlines, in your subject lines, in your ad copy, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, dude. So yeah, I'll go ahead and make sure that the description or the link we're using for this article is in the description of this video. We're taking this from cleverism.com, 40 memorable advertising slogans. I'll let you know right now, some of them are kind of from the past, ways back in the past. Without further ado, I'm just going to pull it up here, John. Let me know when you can see. Yeah,
I can see it.
All right, cool. I'm not getting my little outline thing, but it's all good. All right, so, okay, I'll try to keep this. I don't know if we'll share the screen the whole time here.
No, I mean, I think you can kind of, this is just, this is what it looks like. Maybe we can just still do our normal format. We don't need to share the screen, I don't think. So you can get rid of the screen share, but like, just so people who are watching can see, like, this is it. It's just an article. We found it on the interwebs, and we're just going to kind of run through it.
Yep. So I'll go ahead, and since we aren't sharing the screen, you got a little taste of what it looks like, guys. There's a little blurb about each one. There's a little context, when it came from, which brand it's for. We'll let you know what you need to know about it as we go through. So don't worry your pretty little heads too much. But the way we're going to do this is we're going to go through all 40. We're going to go 1 versus 2 to start it out. Whichever one we think is better, which is pretty subjective, but better for, like we said, for today's e-commerce world. That one will move on and face number 3, and so on and so forth. So until we get through all 40, hopefully by the end, I mean, these are some wacky things the first one's from the 1800s. So hopefully by the end we get one that we would be like, hey, this is pretty solid. This would work really well and add headlines and subject lines for emails, things like that. So, all right, without further ado, nobody cares about the intro anymore, John. Number 1 on the list, here we go. It's from Budweiser, the late 1800s, the king of beers.
So that's it. It's the king of beers. That's the 4 words. That's what we're great. That's what's in the competition, those 4 words.
The king of beers. I mean, the relevance to the brand obviously matters.
Right.
I consider the time it's from because we're talking about today, but it is still interesting to know.
In the 1800s. Okay. Yep.
I mean, it's hard not to give them a touch,
consider it a little bit. Like, what are people thinking? What are people like? How relevant?
I have a feeling some of these, there might be some like words that don't even exist really anymore. So we got to kind of.
Yeah, we got to adjust. All right. Cool.
All right. So.
And what is it facing off against?
Yeah. King of Beers facing off against I'd Walk a Mile for a Camel from Camel Cigarettes. 1921 is when that one came out. So the King of Beers versus I'd Walk a Mile for a Camel. John, gut reaction. What do you think?
I'm going to give the nod to I'd Walk a Mile for a Camel. Here's why. I think I'd Walk a Mile for the Camel or for a Camel. I mean, both are relevant. So King of Beers, like, I'm going to devil's advocate here. Like, I mean, maybe it's contextually relevant to that time period a little bit more. Like king is like, maybe like now we're like king of, yeah, like that's not actually like, there's not really any of them left that actually like are functionally kings, right? Maybe during that time that was like, there was a little more recency around that word king, right? It might have meant something different to people then. But I'd walk a mile for a camel. And here's why I'm giving it the nod. It's just a subjective reason. I'm thinking of these as headlines or in the context of whatever ad they're in. And I think this matches the King of Beers is like, it's like that headline that you get that's like approved by the client and like you just put it on all the ads. You know what I mean? I'd walk a mile for a camel, like kind of like could go with a visual, like it could create a better ad experience with a visual. Right? It also has the potential to be like a horrible ad experience if it's not connected to the visual, but I think it could create a better ad if that like headline or you know, slogan in this case is well connected to a visual.
So without going too long on just this first matchup we're doing, I disagree slightly. I think, but I'm not super hard one way or the other on which side of the fence here I'm on. So I'll agree with you. I will say that I think King of the Beers, or the King of Beers, also kind of evokes some imagery compared to what I assume will be some other ones that pop up here. So I was like, it's kind of imagery first in both situations. But I didn't feel great either way. So you gave the nod to Camel. We'll go with that one as our winner of matchup number one. So now we've got that.
Yeah, both just in my opinion, both aren't great. I mean, both wouldn't work well in like a, you know, current launching environment. Aren't great isn't the right thing to say. Both wouldn't work well within like context that we work in, where we're working with e-commerce brands online.
Sure. I get where you're going with that. All right, so next matchup, we've got I'd Walk a Mile for a Camel, is sitting in that champ spot on the hot seat, versus Hallmark's 1934 slogan, which is scarily the most recent one we've seen so far. When you care enough to send the very best.
Yeah, I think this
first impressions. If I go ahead and go first on this one,
go for it.
First impressions, it snuck up on me a little bit. First of all, I saw it was kind of long before I even read all the words. It doesn't do a lot for me to begin with, but as soon as it kind of that aftertaste, you know, care enough to send the very best. I'm like, man, actually, you know, I mean, like, would you want to send not the best to somebody? Like,
hits you a little deeper than I Walk a Mile for a Camel.
Yeah, a little more real, right? Like a little more real spot.
Yep, it does a better job of hitting on like the life force 8 desires of like caring about, you know, loved ones. So yeah, like it's a right. It just seems a little more meaningful. I'm gonna give the nod to that one personally.
So Hallmark?
Yeah.
All right, we're in agreement on that one. I would as well. So I don't know what we're gonna do when we like strongly disagree on one. I guess we maybe use like a possession arrow, like we go back and forth.
Yeah, all right. I'm good with that.
We're making this up as we go, guys. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what we're doing here. By the way, if you disagree with us, like drop a comment, tell us how dumb we are. Or if you agree with us, tell us how smart we are, if you like that. Okay, so we've got Hallmark's 1934 slogan, "When you care enough to send the very best," as our in the hot seat right now. The next one up, it's Wheaties, 1935, "Breakfast of Champions."
Right. I mean, this is permeated pop culture.
Yeah. Well, but first, I don't know if this chicken or egg situation. Did this like saying exist before this slogan and they just grabbed it, or vice versa? Did they create this like?
I don't know. Right. I mean, I wasn't alive, but if it didn't, then like, I actually don't think it's like an incredibly good slogan, but it for sure is like caught, right? Like, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good. It just means it's been repeated a lot. You know what I mean?
Update here. I read the little blurb. It is, at least in cleverism.com, it's stating that they mostly created this. Like it wasn't a saying before. They actually birthed this slogan. I
mean, this is tough because look, personally, if I'm just judging these from the outside, I actually think the Hallmark one is better. It could work better. It hits better. It like actually is like a more meaningful ad message that like might make somebody convert right away. Whereas Breakfast of Champions, I have the bias of knowing how that ad campaign was used, right? Like they had a lot of pro athletes. They had Michael Jordan. They had these Olympians and stuff like, and they still do, right? Like I think Wheaties is still using this slogan, maybe. I don't know, but
yeah, I think so. I mean, again, situationally maybe. But so here's the thing.
What do you give the nod to here?
Man, this is what I was worried about, because I didn't want to harp on it too much in the first matchup, but like King of Beers, I wasn't as cold on as you were. I thought, it's got a certain visual, and I think, for just being honest here, I probably drink a little more beer than you, man. Like, so.
Well, I've drank more beers than I've smoked cigarettes in my life, but
That's a good point. But neither of us smoked cigarettes, and one of us has drank beers. I'm kind of in that audience, so it hit me in a way. I was like, King of Beers. I mean, I'm not going to drink the like Duke of Beers. That's dumb.
Right. Yeah. Why would I? Yeah.
Know what a Duke is. But anyway, but this one, this is kind of the same thing to me. King of Beers, Breakfast of Champions. It's a little more. I like this one better a little bit, and I will stand on the soapbox a little bit here. I think this is our first conflict. I do like the Hallmark one. I get what you're saying, in a silo, without context of how Breakfast of Champions is still around from the 1930s. That's cool. I get it, but I think I'm of the mindset. I'm like, I'm one of the guys. If I was around in the 30s, I'm a reason why it's still around, because I'm like, that was a good slogan. So, and I do think it fits okay in a headline. I think this is something I maybe would use in a subject line in an email. I think we've got our first thing.
This is a tough one, because so Breakfast of Champions is like, if that wasn't a thing before they said it, like now, like that, we've heard that our whole life. You and I have, literally. Sure. So I'm like, oh yeah, Breakfast of Champions. Like, oh, okay, good one.
By the way, it's not always.
But they originally thought of that, So I actually am not going to use the possession arrow here, and I'm gonna agree. I think you feel more strongly about this than I do. I'm gonna put an asterisk on this and say, like, I do think Hallmark's message would work better in an ad environment now, but Breakfast of Champions might be a little like more powerful and more memorable.
I think it's a little more mass appeal in my opinion.
For sure. That appeals to you, I think,
Yeah, and I think a lot of people feel that way. I do get what you're saying, though. I mean, that the Hallmark one does hit on notes that might make you take action even more.
Like right now, like you might can go from 0 to converting sooner, but like Breakfast of Champions might like grow a brand better,
This was a tight one for me, but I did feel strongly enough not to give it a draw. So you're conceding that you're not using it?
Yeah, we'll go with Wheaties. Yeah.
We can count that as my possession arrow, and then it goes back to you now if you want. If you disagree, that's fine.
We'll just say I have the first possession arrow.
That sounds good. So a proactive non-use of the possession arrow, which in de facto is the first usage of it. Yeah. Really. Okay, so Breakfast of Champions from Wheaties, 1935, now goes up against De Beers, 1948 slogan, "A diamond is forever."
Whoa. And this one is another one that, like, 1938, like this is still being said when I don't know if this same company had it or if this company got acquired or whatever, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Wheaties still. A diamond is forever it's kind of like, again, like has that deeper meaning, right? Because the only time you really buy diamonds is when you're proposing. I guess maybe some other times, but that's like the main time. So it's like a diamond is forever, a marriage is forever. But it takes a second think, I think. At least it always did whenever I've heard it, like, because I've heard this slogan, in commercials and stuff like that. And it like takes a second think. You know what I mean? Like Breakfast of Champions, like, oh, I get it. Like champions eat this for breakfast. Cool. Like diamond is forever is like, you're really saying is like this thing that the diamond represents is forever. So it has that deeper meaning like Hallmark had, but like in a more subtle way, in a way that I think is less effective personally.
I'll wrap this up and say, first of all, I like both of them, honestly. This is another pretty close matchup in my mind. I think I've said it in other episodes, I'm biased to like shorter, punchier things. That's one thing I had against the Hallmark one, was that it was kind of longer, wordier. Maybe it's just like the character amount that we're always forced into for these different, headlines and subject lines and things. So I'm like, yeah, a good short one is great, So with this one, I think the big difference to me is Breakfast of Champions. I mean, yeah, you're right. We've heard this our whole lives. And I don't know that I've ever, or at least most of the time, it wasn't about Wheaties. It was a joke pertaining to something.
Joke, yeah. You're eating McDonald's for breakfast. Like, yeah, Breakfast of Champions, man.
Yeah, it became a meme. It became bigger than what it was. A diamond is forever. It's clearly about a diamond company. And it feels to me almost like maybe the wording would have changed a little bit, but if De Beers hadn't have done it in 1948, somebody else would have done something just like it anyway. So it's a little less inventive. I don't know. Like they were the first to have this, so sure, but
Yeah. So we're giving the nod to Wheaties again. Moving on.
Wheaties, let's keep moving. All right. This one is going to be, I'm real interested in this. By the way, neither of us saw this list ahead of time. I am only looking one ahead each time. So I do get a little batter's box preview. There's our sports reference. We're going to, all right. Breakfast of Champions from Wheaties going up against Finger Licking Good 1952. I had no idea it was that old. That's crazy. Also still around. I'll go first instinct again. It is short. It is one of those you still hear. It's got a lot of the same perks of the Breakfast of Champions. It's got an apostrophe in it instead of the G on the lickin'. I love that it's like kind of more conversational, even in a written form. I like it. It's got some appeal that way. This is a tight one for me, man. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Wheaties again because it says what it is. Finger Licking Good does not say what it is. What's Finger Licking Good?
Good point. And
right, so it has to go with, and I actually gave the nod to Camel earlier, because it's like, oh, this goes with the visual more, but like it still does stand on its own. I'd walk a mile for a Camel if, now we don't see cigarette ads anymore. So it like takes you a second, but back when you saw cigarette ads, you would have gotten that even if you didn't see the visual it went with, but it lends itself to a cool visual experience. Finger Licking Good has to go with something else. Like,
I'm inclined to agree with you. I will say this as just a caveat. Like, if this was an ad headline, you would see that it was an ad for KFC. If it was a subject line, you would see the email. Does KFC send emails? They must. I've never gotten one.
Yeah.
If you would see it's from KFC. So like, I do get what you're saying, and I do think it's stronger that like the Breakfast of Champions. I mean, it explains at least what it is a little bit. But man, I think Finger Licking Good is a classic. Like this was they were throwing haymakers. It's a great one, but they got knocked out. You can't.
Yeah.
Breakfast of Champions, man. It's gonna be tough.
I don't know. Yeah, who's gonna unseat that?
Who knows? Oh man, this one I didn't look at ahead of time. Moving on to our number 7 on the list here. Not in any particular order, right? I think it actually might be chronological order. I just figured that out. Yep. Oh, so we're gonna get way more recent. Probably. More e-commerce as we go. All right. But this one's good, man. All right. Breakfast of Champions versus the milk chocolate that melts in your mouth, not in your hand. M&M's 1954. I had no idea all these slogans that you hear still are like, maybe you don't hear that one as much still, but from 1954? Like, what?
So this is a tough one because I actually think this like hits, it's like wordy and like kind of like not great and doesn't roll off the tongue weird. But I think in that time, dude, I don't know my history. So like somebody's going to come along and be like, you're an idiot. But like, I think in that time, they probably had to say all of that in order for you to like the milk chocolate. Now, like, do you know how they actually changed that was like melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
Right.
Because after a while, it's like, we don't have to say it's freaking chocolate anymore. Like everybody sells chocolate now. This is the chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
I think we get both. I think it gets both.
Right. So I'm going to go with that because I think it hits a pain point better.
It does. I mean, that's exactly it.
And pain sells better than desire. I mean, so Breakfast of Champions is all about desire and like wanting to be like a champion. It's aspirational and I love it. And it's super simple and punchy and like hard to say. So far, it's probably permeated pop culture better than any of these other ones. But yeah, this is actually like a selling headline, I think.
And I'll say one more thing about it, because I actually agree with you too. I think this one finally unseats Breakfast of Champions. I think Breakfast of Champions gets an extra nod from us because, I mean, yeah, we heard it our whole life. And like we imagined the Wheaties box with like Derek Jeter or Michael Jordan.
Or sports people. Yeah.
Right. And those guys don't get to be included with the words in this, which is all we're really grading on. You don't get all the other stuff that goes with it. I agree, man. The milk, or let's just say melts in your mouth, not in your hand, even though we now know
we give it both. Yeah. But yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, because I think literally you had to take out like 3 words to like make it fit attention spans in the 90s when I thought it was brand new, honestly. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right, we got a new champ here on the hot seat. M&M's 1954 slogan: "Milk chocolate that melts in your mouth, not in your hand." Going up now against another chocolate competitor.
Oh boy, that's good. That's nice.
Kitkat by Nestle, which I think is different than M&M's.
Dude, is it going to be break me off a piece? Go.
Have a break, have a Kitkat.
Not as good.
Yeah, not as clever as them. Big whiff on that one. I think
have a break, have a Kitkat. Like it again has to go with the visual of what the Kitkat is, how you break it off. And I would actually say the same thing if break me off a piece comes Like, okay, break me off a piece, like, you know, it's a little bit better. And the thing about it is that like, it's, well, part of it is I can't say it without hearing the song, the jingle, but it doesn't get the jingle. Like you said, it doesn't get the Wheaties box. It doesn't get the jingle. It just says it.
And
So
this,
yeah, and this one's even worse than break me off a piece.
I was just gonna say that maybe we could have that argument if that might be on here, but this isn't even that one that goes with the jingle. So
yeah,
you know,
this one's worse, I think.
But quick nod to The Office with the fancy feast. I mean, it is when that is in your head, like the Kitkat bar. How do you forget it? They even made a joke.
Fancy feast. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the whole joke is you could never forget it's Kitkat bar because they did such a good job with it. So
yeah.
Anyway, we're not jingles. Might be a good episode one time though.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, so still M&M's is king. We're on to number 9 now. Okay, by Crest, 1958. Look, Ma, no cavities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe I'm lukewarm on it because, like, well, okay. Was the Look Ma thing a thing before they did it? You know what I mean? If they were the first to do that, like, I'm like, all right, that's another thing that kind of permeated pop culture a little bit. They also hit on a pain point here, but like, it's just not in as strong of a way, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
making a snap judgment. I'm just lukewarm on it.
No, this doesn't move the needle for me at all. Again, in the time and place, that's a different discussion. We're talking about it 2021. If this was this would be insane for them to.
Let me put it this way. This is an attempt at humor. So unless you're very sure, like with humor, like humor that's lukewarm is cold. It's sub-zero. So unless you're really sure, yeah, don't go with humor unless you know that it's funny.
And I mean, sure, tip of the cap to Crest in 1958. I'm sure it was funnier than all that. And you know, also pretty hard to make toothpaste sexy, honestly. So I get it. They went a different angle with it, but yeah, well, let's keep moving. M&M is king. We're on to number 10 now. Almost a quarter of the way through the list. Volkswagen, think small. From 1959.
It seems like it has to go with a visual.
It does. I actually, on something else I was looking at, it's like an all-white billboard with a tiny, like black Volkswagen Beetle, just kind of like off-center a little bit with the words "think small." It's minimalist. It's like with that visual, I think that's pretty modern for 1959. But the "think small" does nothing.
It's a kind of if you judge it as a whole campaign, that's a different thing. But as a pure headline, you know, if it's in an email, if it's on an ad, it's not doing anything.
All right, so we're in agreement there. We still got M&M's as king. Moving on to number 11. We from 1962 now into a new decade. Here we go. Avis, we try harder.
Okay. No, like I almost think like the main thing I hear is like, cool, like, but do you do better? Like,
it matters at least just because it would still be for the same brand in today's world. It's a rental car company. So with that, I'm like, oh, we try harder because it sucks to rent a car. Like the experience sucks. I'm sure 1962 was even worse. So, but I'm lukewarm on it at best.
Yeah, we try harder. Like I get it. I think they could have been stronger. We work harder.
That almost implies failure. And
it's also about them, you know. I mean, and so is, but like the chocolate one, it's about them. It's the milk chocolate melts in your mouth, but not in your hand. They say you twice. You know, like it's about you. It's about you having freaking chocolate on your fingers.
Yeah. And
not having that anymore. This is like, we try harder, even if it's we work harder. It's like, okay, but what does that mean to me?
Yeah. I can't apply that in any utility kind of way. Sure.
Making me work too hard to make the connection. Yeah.
And we thought Wheaties was going to be tough to dethrone, like M&M's just.
Yeah. I mean, they're the 5-time defending champ now, I think.
Oh, maybe more. Who knows? Something like that, though. You're keeping track of stuff like that? That's great.
No, I'm not. I'm just guessing.
Good guess. All right, moving on to number 12 here. United Airlines, 1966, Fly the Friendly Skies. And just since it's been a while now, going up against the milk chocolate that melts in your mouth, not in your hand, M&M's.
Fly the Friendly Skies. It rolls nicely. It's catchy. I think in audio form, it could perform real well.
I'm looking at it written out. It looks nice too. It's got double F's with the alliteration there. It's got double IEs, which you don't see a lot with friendly and skies.
Yeah.
And even double LYs. Like it's aesthetically pleasing because fly and friendly. It's aesthetically very pleasing. I'll say that.
Again, they're making me work too hard because they're saying we're friendly. you know, and that makes your experience better. Like, make it about me.
The big differentiator from, I think this is actually a quality one. I could see this as like an ad headline. The big differentiator for me is it doesn't set itself apart from any other airline.
Right, exactly. Well, even if they are doing it by saying they're more friendly, it's like again, you got to work too hard. It sounds nice, but it's like, what does that even mean? It's one of those, what does that even mean headlines, you know?
I guess that's implied, but there's nothing like, you know, like,
you didn't even think of it that way.
By the
you think of the skies, it's fun to fly, you know, like, or the sky is nice. And the sky's not always nice. I think they're saying they're friendly, but the fact that we're even having a discussion about it means that's pretty unclear.
I don't know exactly, and it's 1966. So in my mind, I don't know when commercial flight became big. I couldn't have been for very long before this. I don't know. History is crazy, but
yeah.
But in my opinion, this is almost like selling the idea of like
flying. So that's actually a good point. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if a bunch of people weren't sold on the idea of flying at the time, this might be a little bit more powerful. Do you give it the nod? Let's assume that situation. Do you give it the nod then?
No way.
Okay.
M&M's, ride or die.
M&M's, yeah.
We're not even halfway through though. So
at this point, we got to shift our mindset, because I think we're both starting to cheer for M&M's a little bit. We got to be like, okay, somebody beat M&M's.
Oh, it's gonna happen. I mean, I would take the field against M&M's right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, you'd have to give M&M's, you know, long odds. If you were Vegas. Yeah.
I don't know that anything's gonna win as many matchups as M&M's. Though.
Yeah.
That could be, because I think we're gonna hit some bangers later on.
Yeah, I hope so.
So 13, we'll try to speed up a hair here, maybe through these older ones. We're still in the 60s. Last one from the 60s here, number 13, Coca-Cola, 1969. It's the real thing. I didn't know this was a slogan Coca-Cola ever had.
Does it mean that they have cocaine in there? Like, what?
Exactly what I thought, but I think that was already out of the recipe at that point. I think it's just...
Yeah, again, what does that even mean?
I think it's trying to I think it would still make sense today, as much sense as it made then. Maybe people spoke a little differently. Like, it's just saying, like, it's the best cola, which I think most people would agree with still. But yeah, it doesn't do much for me.
There's more, like, there are fewer options then. There's more options now. So it's like, maybe back then it was like, look, we're like the original. We're the heavyweight champ, right? So, yeah, okay, I get it. It's still, I think it's still just, it's about you. It's about the product. And that's okay. Like, but you got to, like, be a lot better than a headline that's about me and about, like, a pain point I have. You know,
I also have to say this has an exclamation point on it. There's only been like one or two other ones that did, and I'm not a huge fan of that in the like slogan / headline itself.
Yeah,
like,
it shouldn't need that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not my favorite punctuation for something, unless it's the perfect kind of thing, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep moving here. Number 14. Again, still in case you just jumped on. I don't know how you would even have done that, but you just jumped in here. We're comparing against M&M's, the milk chocolate that melts in your mouth, not in your hand. On quite a run here, and now it's going up against John Deere's 1972 slogan, "Nothing runs like a deer," but deer with an extra e at the end, spelled with deer. I like
that's kind of cool. I know you like that. I don't like it as much. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like a Beatles thing, like BEAT. And that was maybe like that was kind of the time period where, like, people might make that connection. Nothing runs like a deer. I still don't think it's better. You know, I guess, like, to me, it's what's powerful about the M&M's one is that it's about me and it's about a pain point I have. You know,
yeah,
nothing runs like a deer probably is relevant to people who drive tractors, because it is like, it's kind of like that Harley thing. You know what I mean? Like, look, you know, if I'm a motorcycle guy, I'm going to ride a Harley.
A little side experiment here. Forget about the M&M's. Just comparing it to, because this is actually, in my mind, trying to do a similar thing to what Coca-Cola's one just did, where it's like, you're already brand aware and you're comparing it to the competitors. I think this is much better than "It's the Real Thing" by Coca-Cola, which is basically saying, like, we don't even care enough to write a good slogan to, like, say we're better than Pepsi or whoever they're battling with. Nothing runs like a deer is it's got the name in there. That's smart. Nothing can compete with it. It's a little more nuanced there.
It's clever with the spelling. Yeah, it's better. It's better.
The same angle. It's better than that. Still can't touch M&M's right now. We're on a big run. That means M&M's now from, I mean, this is just Cleverism's list, but 1954, we're all the way, we're like 20 years later.
1972, yeah.
1973 now with this next one, number 15, Burger King. John, you know it. What is it?
Is it, what is it?
It is.
I don't know it.
Oh, you don't? Oh, never mind. You don't know it. Okay, sorry.
Well, when you say it, I'll know it.
Have it your way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
1974. Okay.
Still their slogan as far as I know, but again, slogans aren't really a thing. They're situational, like headlines and stuff.
Okay, here we go. Okay, this is a competitor. Okay, it's about me. It's fully about me. Like, it's not like the milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand. It's fully about me. It does have less clarity. Have it your way has to go with a visual. It has to go with a commercial. It has to go with something. But another thing here is like, I mean, now I think, you know, there are a lot of restaurants or burger places, even fast food places, where you can have it your way. You can like put what you want on it. But even still, like, not all of them. You can't do that at McDonald's. You can't do that at a bunch of them still. And you know, and I got to think in that time, like that was actually like a major unique selling proposition, kind of like the M&Ms was. So a little of this goes to like them actually creating a better product or user experience than everybody else, not just marketing experience.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Where are you at?
Before you weigh, yeah, exactly. Before you weigh in, I was just going to say that too. What I like about Have It Your Way, it lacks some specificity, which loses some points, but exactly what you just said at the end there is what I was going to touch on. It speaks to a bigger experience, especially in like fast food, where it's like the experience isn't good. You know, the food is take it or leave it kind of thing, and usually like the service isn't great. Even in 1973, I'm sure it was that way. But Have It Your Way is like, it's not talking about food specifically, I think, because it is have it your. I mean, when you show up, like, what do you want to do? Like, what's this is your wildest dreams? This is vote for Pedro, and your wildest dreams will come true. Like it's bigger than life. It's a big swing. It's a home run.
It's about me. And it's like, yeah, it's bigger than, it's not, I love the specificity of like hitting my pain point, but Have It Your Way is like, it's still about me and it hits a pain point of like having life my way, right?
Yeah. And you can tell they're coming after the big competitors here. They're saying like, yeah, you can go to McDonald's and get the Mick whatever. Like that's about them. They name everything after McDonald's. This is Burger King. Come have it your way. This is John's way. But that said, I'm still giving the nod to the M&Ms here. I mean, it says milk chocolate in the whole thing, and then we get the amended version to go with it, where they took it out because they're like, people can't pay attention for that long. I can't give it to Burger King here.
Okay, we got to remember what we're doing here, and what we're doing is like what would work best as like a marketing message for an e-commerce brand today. So I got to go with you. Yep, M&M, the milk chocolate that melts in your mouth, not in your hand, still the champion.
Well, man, okay, so we're in 1973 here. That was a great try by Burger King.
We got stuck there, though. So, like, if it's not good, we got to go.
All right. So we got a few from 1973 here. So it's going to have to win out like 3 or 4 more times before we give it that 20 years victory here. So next one up. This is a solid competitor again, I think. L'Oreal, 1973, Because I'm Worth It. I like it. I like it a lot, especially for the time. Yeah. Right now, I'd still like it because I think that kind of thing has come back around. It's like fashion from 1970s has kind of come back around maybe a couple times since then. That whole cycle of like what self again it's
self-worth. Yeah, valuing what you are instead of what right.
Yeah, and you can be beautiful whoever you are, however, whatever your thing is. Like it speaks to everybody the same way because you're worth it. Why get something that is garbage? You want L'Oreal shampoo.
And it's a like we're gonna like it's like hey I'm worth it. It's speaking to like you're worth this. I'm gonna sell you a premium. You're gonna buy this premium product because you're worth it. Here's one critique I have of it is I think it would be better if they just said because you're worth it instead of because I'm worth it.
I think that's actually what it changes to. So in this because at least I know L'Oreal Kids is because
we're worth it too. Yeah.
I think let's go slash because I think I've seen it both ways. Let's go because I'm / your, whichever you prefer in situations. I think you could use both here.
Again, it doesn't have the context and the specificity of saying because I'm worth it, right? What are we selling here? So I think anything that does that, it's tough, right? But where you stand? I'm leaning. I'm on the fence here.
Okay, let's wrap it up quick, but quick experiment. Compare it to Have It Your Way real quick. Which one's better? Kind of similar things as after here. It's
better than Have It Your Way, I think.
I agree too. This is a little closer. I'm still struggling with giving it up though. crown is with M&M's for me, at least. I'm going to stick there. I love this one, though. So far, I think it's the next best one.
That is the way I am leaning off the fence is toward M&M's. So yeah.
Dang, M&M's are good, man. All right, so we're moving on. Number 17 now, still in 1973. It's got to defeat at least 3 more things here before it gets the 20 years nod. All right, next one. This one has specificity.
Oh boy.
Specificity that we need.
I hope it's good.
Got some humor, and it's got the humor. I don't know the brand. Carlsberg, ring a bell at all? 1973. Probably the best lager in the world. I love it. This is the opposite of the one that we said was going for humor earlier. And like nobody really says stuff like that anymore. This one is exactly, it sounds like,
okay. To be fair, you said it with the tone they wanted you to say it with. So like the delivery of it was part of it. But yeah, you can't help but read it with that, right?
Exactly. Say it out loud in a way that's
probably the best lager in the world.
I mean, that sounds insane. Nobody would, a foreign person who doesn't speak English would say it different than that still. Like,
dude, I kind of dig this one. I don't know if it's a better headline. I actually think, okay, if we're saying if it were an e-commerce brand, I think that might play a little bit better today.
Yeah, man, this is hitting something for me where this is being a huge upset. But like this reminds me of like a Manscaped or something. It's got some innuendo. It's not even innuendo, just fun. Yeah. It's fun and it's funny. Even if you don't think it's funny, it's still like interesting. Like how would they like?
This is like kind of a disruptor brand play. You know what I mean? Like this is the kind of stuff disruptor brands say where they're like, let's use a more like fresh type of tone. You know what I mean? Whereas I love the specificity of M&M's, but this one's got where are you at? What are you doing?
Dude, this one is now at least the next best one.
I'm leaning toward this one.
I am too. I was just
because of what we're doing. I actually still think I'm going to asterisk this and say the M&M's one is still a better headline. It's a better selling headline. This one would probably play better in today's e-commerce.
I'd agree. It's the same as we had another one. I can't remember what it was, but you go like
the Hallmark one. Yeah.
Traditional marketing, you could do better maybe, but for this purpose. Yep. Yeah, I don't even know this brand. I think that speaks to how Carlsberg. I think it takes it. I'm in. I'm with it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Hey, new champ. Woo. M&M not quite making it to 20 years.
Yeah, but M&M's did. I mean, M&M's beat 8 through I believe 16 here. So wow.
Yeah, 8 wins in a row. I mean, defend your title 8 times. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts, honestly. So great job, M&M's. Keep it up. But yeah, so we're at 1973 here. We got another 1973 competitor here going up against our new reigning champ, probably the best lager in the world. Love it. It's fun to say. 7-Up, 1973. This one's cool too. The Uncola.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like it.
Have to know what 7-Up is, and it makes total sense. And it's just
okay. So this is actually like. This is like a cool marketing play where like, yeah, this email would get opened.
Yeah, and it's
this ad would get clicked.
It's 2 words and one of them's the. Like they don't need real estate for this.
It's not a better headline. It's not a better like, you know, I still think Carlsberg is better, but I actually think like this would be like a really good direct response headline. Right. So if you can reframe your product to something like this, like, you know, the uncomputer, try the something. What are you the Like, I'm really interested. Try this in an email and like, tell me what the open rate is. Like people out there.
So
so if you're nugs, man, like, so it's like, you know, the fast food, the chicken, you know?
So this is how I look at it. Probably the best lager in the world, a better thing for this exercise, but the Uncola is a better like campaign in general. We're talking the whole idea is everything's a little bit more situational. There's not
attention grabbing. Yeah, this is
Uncola could be a whole like fall line of ads, like a bigger idea, and I like it, but it doesn't compare to how we're using these right now. So moving on.
Probably the best lager in the world sells better. The Uncola gets attention better.
Yeah, and probably the best. I mean, I love the blend of humor and just the sheer like massive claim. Like
I'm more sold already. I click that ad and like I'm probably gonna buy this thing already. The Uncola, I'm like, yeah, you got to explain more to me. you know.
Again, I am the beer drinker of the two of us. King of Beers I liked, didn't make me want to go have a Budweiser. Right now, I'm at the fact that I don't know what Carlsberg is, I'm a cold audience to them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I want to try this lager that's claiming to be the best in the world.
Probably.
Probably.
I don't know, probably.
We just shrug it off.
How would we really know that? I mean,
never even taken the time to like try to find out. We just were so obsessed with making the best one.
Yeah, I know.
All right, moving on. Trying to speed up here. We're almost halfway through. This is taking longer than I thought, but I'm having more fun than I thought we would too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, we're moving on.
We could two-part this. Do you want to two-part this and do like stop at 20 or what?
Ooh, we can if you want, man.
What are we at time-wise?
We're almost 40 minutes in, I think. So
I mean, like let's take our time on it because that'd be an hour and a half long episode. So like, yeah,
all right,
stop at 20. We're gonna give it a part 2.
Let's do it like this then. This is how it happens, guys, on the fly. Let's do a champ from the first 20, a champ from the second 20, and
head to head.
And at the end, yeah, we'll do an A/B bracket and put them head to head. Honestly, I don't think just looking ahead quickly, we're going to end at 1975. The 20th one is from 1975. So, and then the next one's after that. So we're going 1975 and before, and then after. And I mean, yeah, I can't imagine Carlsberg getting knocked off here in the next couple, but who knows? Anything could happen. Oh, great segue into the next one. Adidas, 1974. Impossible is nothing. Which is, it's got like 7 or 8 different meanings. Just quick off the top of my head, I feel like.
It's kind of cool. It's not as good.
I mean, just the more you think about it, it's kind of meta, you know, like nothing is impossible is the odd.
Yeah.
Then also like impossible is nothing makes me think like, oh, what you thought is impossible. That's just nothing. Like, I'm like, oh, a double meaning there. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a little too meta.
It's the kind of message or headline you can use when you can kind of just like burn some ad dollars and you don't necessarily need them to convert. But probably the best lager in the world is what we use if you're like, yeah, I mean, I kind of need these ad dollars to convert into more revenue dollars than I invest.
I have a feeling that would end up being the control, right? And then even if impossible is nothing was for that same brand, you'd be like, sure, we'll test it. That's cool. It's whatever. But it's probably going to lose out to our control here. And in this situation, I think it does.
Yeah.
All right. So we've only got one more here.
Okay, final one of the day. Final one of part 1.
Yeah, this is great. This is exciting, guys. History in the making. We're doing a 2-parter here. Again, champ right now is Carlsberg's 1973 slogan, probably the best lager in the world. I love it. I love saying it like that. Won't say it any other way. I refuse to. Against number 20 here, last one of the day, Bmws, 1975 slogan, kind of similar, the ultimate driving machine. I love it. This is kind of like Clash. It's the same kind of
yes.
Single.
Okay. Specificity. It's about the product. So it given like, yeah, I mean, if it were about me instead, it might be able to knock off probably the best lager in the world. But probably the best lager in the world would probably do better today.
Yeah. So,
in terms of like a headline or like, just a campaign.
This is, I guess, like I was saying, it's a very similar angle. It's just claiming to be the outright best. I mean, ultimate means best, right? Like no one like it better. And I like that it didn't go so specific to say like car, driving machine. It's like, hey, before you get crazy about any like tractors or go-karts or anything else you might, or even like at that point, I mean, you drive a plane, right? Like, it's like, this is you could drive. And BMW already knows this. They're playing to their strengths. This is like the perfect slogan for them. But it's missing that like pang of humor. It doesn't have, if it said probably the ultimate driving machine, that would be hilarious. Like I would probably have to go with this one. That's even funnier because the wording, it seems so like regal.
Because like ultimate is like such a more strong word in driving machine. Like you can't put probably with it and like use that phrase. So it would be funnier if they used probably, but it wouldn't work for BMW.
The contract,
it would be off brand.
Exactly. So I will say this caveat before we just chalk it up to Carlsberg right now. This is for the brand still today. And I'm not going to say that the ultimate driving machine wouldn't be a good like slogan or headline or anything for a BMW in 2021. That sounds perfect for their brand. On the nose, couldn't be much better. I just think that like Carlsberg like just hit a grand slam out of the stadium in 1973 that from like, I mean, we're talking 50 years ago. Like, this is crazy. I can't imagine that they hit like a funny. How could something be funny for 50 years?
Yeah. Like you would, if you saw that headline on an Instagram or in an email for like a beer, you wouldn't buy beer online, but like you would be like, you might be like, yeah, I'm gonna go buy this now. Like probably the best. That's funny. And the fact that I haven't tried you kind of makes me feel like I haven't tried like what might possibly be the best lager in the world. We don't know, but it could be.
There is no,
and it kind of gives you this like, oh, I've tried some other lagers, so like I'll be the judge, you know?
Yes. There's no picture here. The blurb, I've briefly read it. It does nothing for me. I want to try this lager. It's the only thing. I mean, okay, actually, M&Ms, I will say, whenever I hear him, I'm like, yeah, if you had some M&Ms, like, can I have some of those M&Ms, please? But that's different, right? That's like, you share those. Anyway, this makes me want to go to the store and buy this thing. Like,
yeah.
It's great. It's great humble brag. They did it in a funny way. It beats the BMW one in my mind. I assume you're in agreement on that.
Oh yeah.
We got a champ, day one champ, part A champ. Yeah, probably the best lager in the world.
So I'm gonna wrap up part one here. Well, I don't know. Do you want to? Was that number 20? Was that number 20?
That was it. BMW was 20.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll do the other 20 next time. Right. And we'll have a part 2 champ. And at the end of the part 2 episode, we'll match it up against probably the best lager in the world.
All right. Experiment here. Fun little experiment. I know we said this, but I'm wondering now, would you take Carlsberg against the field or the field against Carlsberg? Because I don't know now. When it was M&Ms with 30 to go, it was easy to say the field.
If you had to give me Vegas odds, so like the way the way that works is like, if you want to bet on, even now there are 3 teams left in the NBA. They're the Suns, as we're speaking right now, the Suns, the Bucks, and the Hawks for the 2021 season. That's who's still left that could possibly win the championship. All of them have like odds on them, right? So it's not just a 1-to-1 bet. So yeah, if you were going to give me odds on Carlsberg versus the field, I would take it.
Yeah, I'm taking 1-to-1 odds.
On 1-to-1, I'd probably take the field, and play the possibilities.
It's so funny, and I'm not.
There's 20 shots on goal to beat it,
Yeah, I'm not questioning our integrity here. I have no idea what's coming. I'm not saying we would like purposely dethrone it. I'm just having a hard time, and I do want to take the math side too. 20 shots on goal is a lot. I want to believe that, but I'll go ahead. I'll go old school here. Right now, at least, I will say I don't know what it would take to beat it. So I'm having a hard time taking the field. Honestly, I'm going to go with Carlsberg here. In fact, I was brand unaware. Yeah, and I actually felt it. Maybe it's subjective to me, though. So we'll see. And I'll be honest, I'm not.
We probably shouldn't have said that, because now it's like, I think we're going to be biased toward that.
I'm not going to take it, and it's a silo, right? It's a new tournament to get a new winner.
Well, the new winner is still going to go up against that, but yeah, I get you. Right.
I'm saying, sure, we're all biased. I'm just announcing mine and saying like this got me good. I didn't see this coming. I thought M&Ms, especially if you would have told me when we were hitting M&Ms and it was 8 in a row, just knocking everybody down. You told me then we were going to end at 20. I'd be like, well, M&M's is going to be the part 1 champ.
Yeah.
But out of nowhere, university just comes up with like a catch over the wall,
Big win, yeah.
And he just robbed that homer. All right, man.
I bet that dude didn't win. I bet that didn't win any awards then, right? Like some of these other ones were probably like award-winning slogans and campaigns and stuff like that. I bet that didn't win any awards, but I bet it sold a lot of beer, man.
I mean, I think it speaks to that everyman so much, and I'm that guy. I am square in their market,
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, are you a lager guy? You like lagers? You like ales?
This makes me feel like a lager guy.
Yeah. Like
I want to be able to say this, like I want to hold this, and I want to pretend I'm in their commercial. I want to hold this thing and be like, this is probably the best lager in the world.
Yeah, I get you. All right. So, I'll take the parting shot on day 1 here on part 1 of this 2-parter. I legit think like even if you're not an e-commerce brand owner and you're still like with us through this whole thing, but you do any kind of online selling, advertising, whatever, like there are actually some that you can take here, like adapt some of these, adapt them to your brand and send them out as a subject line or an ad. Like a few stick out. So the M&Ms one, like I think a lot of brands already do that. The product that does this, right? But I like, first of all, it just did a few things. It made it about me. It made it about a pain point I had. And it made it like, without saying we're better than this company because of this, or better than this chocolate because of this, it says it like differentiated itself by like saying what it does and what the alternative is, you know? And it did all of that in a pretty short headline. So like there's a lot of adaptation there, but you can try something like that. But legit, like rip the uncola. Like, what are you the of? And put that in your next email subject line. Put it on an ad, test it on an ad. Maybe rip probably the best blank in the world. Like, I don't know. You do it or don't. Now we're gonna, if we have like, 500 brands saying that, it'll lose its luster a little bit. But like you could straight rip that, and I think it would do well as an email subject line. Yeah. Any others that stick up? Oh, the Hallmark one, I think like really like hitting on something where like, if you can hit on like things that are important to your market that even like aren't about them, because you care enough to send the best, like that could work really well as a subject line, as an ad headline,
rises above
ad opener. Yep.
Yeah. Not to step on your, I gotta go parting shot number 2 here, because I just gotta get my words in here. Like we said, kind of the caveat to this whole thing is slogans, headlines, whatever they are, they're more situational now. You need more than just one. You can't have it. And if you're going to be sending emails, these kinds of things as email subject lines, you're going to need 3 a week, like. Yeah,
this is a swipe. There's a little swipe file here.
Oh, yeah. And like you said, perfect. Adapt things to your brand. But also, I would say, you'll notice there's a few different angles here, some of which are repeated. Just declaring yourself as ultimate or the best. It can be serious or hilarious, depending on what your brand is. Know your audience and do one or the other. That's another one. Swipe that, use it. Just say we're probably the best this, or say we're the ultimate this, and there's no question. Like whatever fits you better. Look through these different angles that are used here and totally use them yourself. Try multiple of them. I think there's some great stuff here. You chalk some stuff up. This is all 1975 or before. Doesn't mean it can't work today. The funniest thing I've heard like all week. That's probably the best in the world. That's my parting shot.
It's probably the best. It's probably the funniest thing I've heard.
Probably the best. Anyway, guys, if you think that this is probably the best e-commerce podcast on YouTube right now, go ahead and drop us a comment, like us, subscribe, hit that bell, get notifications, check out one of our other videos popping up here. And until next time, we'll see you.